made more sense. But anyway, we are here with Jeff Pilson to talk about the End Machine Phase 2, the new album that came out recently. It is an unabashed celebration of hard rock and everything good, right? I mean, is that how we describe it?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah, that's how I describe it. I mean, it is.
I like unabashed hard rock and everything good. I love that. I just call it a melodic rock record with lots of grooves and great melodies and hopefully great choruses and just hopefully a record that people are going to dig because we had a lot of fun making it.
Yeah, so just quickly talk to me about this End Machine. Now, you had to replace Mick Brown. He retired, which I probably should do too at some point, right?
Oh no, you got a long way to go for that, Mitch.
Right.
Yeah, Mick has decided to leave the business. And that's one of those things that wow. I got to give him props for that. I mean, that's somewhat of a courageous move, and I got to respect it. I get it. I understand. The wear and tear on the body is pretty endless in the traveling we do these days. Anyway, so Mick has retired, and by Mick's suggestion and our agreement, we decided to go with his brother Steve, and it turned out to be just the best decision we could have made.
Yeah.
Steve is a fantastic drummer, a fantastic singer, and even scarier than all that is he just sounds and feels and plays so much like Mick. It's scary. I mean, I close my eyes and I don't know the difference, and then I hear the voice talking, and the voice is so reminiscent of Mick's, and he sings so much like Mick. It's pretty crazy. I mean, definitely a testament to the power of DNA.
Yeah, right. Truly. So just talk to me about this project. Now, is this something like Black Swan that you're going to do just to get some new music out there, or do you want to at some point make this a touring band and make it your primary focus? As we get on in the years with Foreigner and stuff, do you start saying, okay, I got to make a decision? Do I want to be the End Machine guy? Do I want to be the Black Swan guy, or do you want to be the everybody guy?
Well, I mean, as far as going out and being a touring band, that's really hard to even imagine at this point because of what's going on. Although I will say that, yeah, I mean, I don't know how long Foreigner's going to be able to continue doing what we do. I mean, I know we've got a few years left in us, and I know we're going strong now, but you never know. So yes, it would be nice to have bands that I feel very strongly about both the music and the personnel. And in both Black Swan and End Machine's case, that's the situation. I love those guys. I love making music with all of them. So, primary focus, who knows? I mean, I don't want to color it. I don't want to predict too much down the road. All I know is that right now I do enjoy it as an outlet for making new music. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can do some playing out because when we did the shows with the End Machine last year, it was so much fun. I love to play with George, and then Robert is just so fantastic, and I really look forward to going out and playing with Steve because he's a great singer, and I know we could really nail the Dokken vocals and everything, so it'd be really fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't want to exaggerate my intentions or downplay them either, because it's just an open book right now. It's what I want to do to make music, and if it grows into something more, that is the design, that was the vision for it. So we'll see. It's too hard to say these days. Look at how unpredictable the world is.
It truly is. Now, when you're putting together End Machine and Black Swan sort of concurrently, how do you decide which band gets which song? Is it really based on, can Robert sing this better than Robin, or how do you sort of say, because they are both melodic hard rock projects, so which pile does it drop into?
Well, I mean, most of the time the music starts with myself and the guitar player. In End Machine's case, it's George and I. We sit down and write the music. So there you go. There's the End Machine music. When Reb and I sit down, we write, Black Swan music. There were a couple songs where I took the lead in writing on the last Black Swan record, and that just happened to happen. We were just in the middle of doing it, and I got inspired, and everybody said, "Great," But as far as I don't think about it as deciding which is which. You just kind of feel it, and the M Machine has a certain feel to it, and most of the time I'm going to want to write with George on that and come up with the music, and then that automatically makes it M Machine or Dokken if that ever happens. But yeah, so it's about the collaboration. That's what really turns it into one or the other.
It really does. Jeremy, you've been a fan of Dokken for many years now. Jeremy's only 26, by the way, and our number one on-air host in Montreal. What's your question for Jeff?
I don't even know if I have a question for Jeff. This is just cool to be talking. Last time we saw each other was at Foreigner backstage. So it's like, I mean,
yeah.
You were just talking about, you like working with George, and now with Steve in the band, he's got the vocal ability and stuff. So I mean, once you guys go live, do you with the M Machine, will you play the Dokken stuff? Like, can I expect to go here, in my dreams, all that stuff?
Absolutely, we do Dokken stuff, of course. I mean, not only would the audience expect it, but we'd want to do that too. We'd want to deliver it. And the thing is, I know we could deliver it really well. There's that artistic side of me that would really look forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Now, let me just ask you about this, because you have, of course, M Machine and Black Swan. We've said it 10 times now. There is an importance to you, obviously, to keep getting new music out there. Mm-hmm. Whereas with the main bands, the Foreigner, and if you ever do the Dokken again, there really isn't a rush to get new music out. How important is it for you as an artist to get new music out? And how important would it be for those two other vehicles to get music out? Should Foreigner be making new music at this point?
Well, we are working on new music. I mean, okay. we don't have to worry about deadlines or record companies telling us what to do and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it is important that Foreigner stay. I mean, especially for Mick. Mick needs to be involved in writing, because he's such a great writer, and that's such a big part of his psyche that I think it's important he stay connected with that. So yes, I think it's important there. For Dokken, I mean, if we were to ever get back together, I think it would be number one with the goal of making a record of new music, because I know we could do it. We did it in 2016 when we did one new song for the live record we had at the time, and the chemistry was still there. We could all palpably feel it. And again, Dokken it's a long shot. Who knows whether that'll ever happen again? But yes, to answer your question, I think it is important to make new music. It's not as important, I don't think, for Foreigner to do a whole new record of new music, because that's number one. That's just too invasive in a machine that's basically geared for touring. Mm-hmm. But work on new music and come up with a couple new songs here and there, put them on packages and things like that. But you know what? Yeah, you got to make new music if you're an artist. I mean, I guess not everybody does, but I certainly do.
Yeah. Talking about how you just said it's a bit of a long shot for you guys to get back with Dokken and stuff, like what's the drama there? Like, what's the beef? Like, I know like Don had some health issues and stuff, and his vocals aren't necessarily, what they used to be, but like, what's keeping you guys from hopping on a Zoom and writing some tunes together?
It's not drama. It's scheduling, really. Don now lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico, so and yeah, you can write on Zoom, but I mean, George and I were able to write the M Machine record using Skype and a program called Audio Movers, so I could run his studio from my studio. But it's not the desired way. And with Don, I would feel, we could definitely write together via like a Zoom, but to really make it work, I think we'd need to be in the same room, and we'd need to be bashing stuff back and forth, and he'd need to do this, and then I need to try that, and a lot of when Don and I work together is we sing together, right? And you can't do that on Zoom; it's not in sync. So, that's part of it. But it's more about schedules. Don has his own Dokken right now, and legally he has to do that, and that's fine. That's all cool. So
and you've got Foreigners, so it does kind of make sense.
Yeah. I got a fairly active day gig.
I got a pretty busy day job.
I do. So we'll see. Yeah. It's not drama. It really isn't.
Okay, cool. No, that's good to know. You're sitting in your studio, you got all kinds of cool amps there. I want to say, one of the best sounding shows I'd ever seen was Foreigner at that Montreal show at Place des Arts. That venue is like, it's famous for being a very dead room. Like, you're not used to hearing like big arena rock tunes being played in there. And it sounded like a freaking stadium that night, and the crowd was going berserk.
We have a great sound man, and it's a great band.
I really think sound is a big. It's a very important part of the show. Is you go see some bands and you're expecting to sound like the record, and it's just like ugh. And then you go see you guys, and you guys are playing live, and man, like the drums just sound killer. Everything's compressed nicely. So I just wanted to give props to your sound guy. I hope you guys bring him back.
I will tell him I'm going to see him soon. That's great, and yeah, it is important. I mean, rock music. I mean, yeah, it's about the feel, but part of that feel, what helps the feel is when it sounds right.
Yeah. Well, it's just like in the studio, right? A shitty engineer can make a really good song sound, not be a good song. So,
Right.
Well, yeah, or not sound like one, right?
talking about studio gear, I saw on Facebook that you were selling some gear from like the warehouse. Are you still doing that? Like, you're going through your stuff and like
I sold everything that I was looking to. I was trying to help raise money for our crew.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think I sold everything that I'm willing to get rid of right now. I mean, I did sell a couple of nice items, but hey, listen, our crew was out of work for over a year.
Yep.
Right.
And due to no fault of their own. So I was just trying to do anything I could to help.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys were one of the first bands to jump on the bandwagon, like selling, a limited edition t-shirt or selling your local crew shirts and stuff. And, it is a bit of a flash in the pan to say, some t-shirts are going to pay for the crew's wages that they ultimately lost for a year, but at least you guys were doing something.
You were trying.
We're doing something, and the gear that I sold brought enough money to help out and be a little helpful. So, I mean, plus, Kelly sold some stuff and auctioned it off. Breedlove Guitars gave us a guitar that we auctioned off. I mean, there was a lot of cooperation in that, and yeah, we felt we had to do something.
Yeah, and quickly, props to Chris Leparage and Greg Rule.
Yeah.
We have to give them props.
Greg and Chris.
You have been asked the question 100 times. I'm going to ask it again anyway about Foreigner going on when Mick retires. Quiet Riot did it, and I think rightly so. Why should those songs have to no longer be presented live? Are you starting to see now that Quiet Riot's done it and maybe a couple of others, you just go, yeah, you know what? This is great stuff. Why should we deprive the world of Cold as Ice? Let's keep going.
Well, I mean, the thing is, this conversation assumes Mick wants to go somewhere, and Mick really doesn't. Mick's life is Foreigner. That's his body of work and his legacy. Mick doesn't want to, stop. I mean, at least at this point. So, honestly, we've never really talked. I mean, it's very hard to imagine Foreigner without Mick's involvement. And I mean, I don't think that'll ever happen. It just won't. He'll always be involved. So I think this question is kind of like asking a question about a situation that's a hypothetical that there's no reason to believe it would necessarily happen. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, but if Mick says tomorrow, you know what, guys, I don't think I can go on the road anymore. You guys go out, you keep waving the Foreigner flag, you keep playing the music, and he says, I'm cool with it, gives you the blessing. Do you guys keep going on and playing the Foreigner? Because I think you should.
You're asking, and you're asking me a hypothetical. So, I mean, all I can tell you is that there's never been a discussion like, okay, I'm going to retire and you guys are going to carry on. That's never happened.
It's never come up?
What has come up is actually no. It really hasn't. I mean, never like you're thinking. It's because here's what Mick always says. He always says, I don't want to be that guy that retires and plays checkers and does a crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
I'm a musician. And we understand that. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm not that much younger than he is. So, his point is he loves doing it. And why not do it as long as you can? That's really what it comes down
I'm
to.
with that. And even in 10 or 15 years from now, because you are all younger than him, keep going. I mean, there's no reason to end it.
Jeff, I'll be honest with you. I'm at the point where, I'm 26 and all these bands that I grew up loving, like, Mitch has been there since, early 80s and 70s, seeing all these bands. You've been playing in these bands. But now it's for me, it's like it's weird for me to think like, oh my God, like 10 years from now, all the bands I love going to see live aren't going to be around anymore.
Well, some of them, yeah, who knows? Again, I'm not going to be a prognosticator anymore.
Right. We learned that in the last year. Let me bring you back real quick to the end machine.
I would have seen this all coming. So I've given up on making predictions. All I can tell you is that Mick Jones is going to be firmly involved with Foreigner, I'm sure in one way or another forever.
Good, as it should be. Let me just bring you back to the End Machine Phase 2. In terms of writing the album, do you look around the marketplace and say, okay, we need to have a song like this that's going to fit on radio? Or are you way past that and just go, you know what, we're just going to write what we write and that's it?
Yeah, we're a little more the latter. I mean, yes, we would like song, you want to think in terms of what will be a song that's immediate that we can release and people will get the band right away.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of the 2021 version of thinking about what's the single. But do we think about radio? God, no. I mean, radio now for a rock band? No, we just want to write the best music we can.
Yeah.
Well, why not think about radio? Radio's still, market research says radio's still #1 discovery for new music, regardless of what people talk about streaming services and stuff, and it still pays. So, if you can get a radio single on.
Rock bands? I don't think so.
Well, you got to get on the right rock station. I mean, does the End Machine cater to an alternative rock kind of audience?
Oh, yeah, because that goes over well.
92.3, that's the End Machine.
There is some radio, absolutely. And we are getting some right now, as a matter of fact. There is a promotion person working on that. I'm not saying we're ignoring radio. I'm just saying we are not writing with radio in mind because radio is a small piece of our puzzle.
Right.
You're right, yeah, new music from a band of guys in their 20s, of course they want to need to be on the radio.
Yeah.
That's just not, but that's not where we are. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
So what are you writing for? Do you say it has to sound like Dokken, it has to sound like Warrant, or are you just really trying to create its own things? What is sort of like, how do you sort of say this song is End Machine and my fans will like, because I mean, obviously you're catering to fans that have known you for the last 20 years, I would think.
Well, and we always have to start with, do we get off on it?
Okay.
And are we, getting the buzz? The only difference about this time, we did, process-wise, we did things a little differently. But we didn't police ourselves as much when things did kind of start sounding Dokken-y.
Right.
If Joe and I were working on something and
let it. I mean,
like, so what? We did that. That we wrote the music for Dokken too. So
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it sound like that? And we didn't police ourselves. We just said, you know what? That's cool. I still dig it. I don't care if it reminds me of an old Dokken song. It's cool.
Yeah.
So there was that thinking, and then when we got to writing lyrics and melodies, we really wanted to concentrate on choruses. We really approached this trying to be songwriter guys, and really tried to build that structure for the songs so that when Robert took it away and really did his lyrical thing, because Robert is so great at giving purpose and meaning to lyrics and tying lyrics in. He's so great at that. And, we just all wanted to get a good skeleton going of the song with the chorus structure and kind of get an idea where the verse and pre-chorus were going. And then let him lyrically tie it up. And it worked fabulous. Really, really happy with the results. It's a gifted group of people, and I feel very grateful to be working with them.
Yeah, you really should. I don't think I've asked you about this before, but you had a chance to work with Michael Schenker on the MSG album back in, I'm looking at it here, 91. Wow, a long time ago.
I wasn't even born.
Even born.
Yeah. Remind me of your birth year again, Mr.
3 years
Jeremy.
too early, 94.
God, right. Yeah. So before Jeremy was born, you were working with Michael Schenker. What do you remember about that experience? Because working with Schenker, from what I'm told, is both magical and sometimes frustrating. He is a genius at his instrument, but some of the other. How was it for you?
Well, I mean, it was great for me. I mean, we had it was a particularly nice period of time with Michael. I mean, there was no substances involved, and he was just very clear-eyed. I mean, yeah, he's a dedicated fanatic to the guitar. I mean, he walks around with the guitar and he plays it at all moments. But it was really fun. He was in particularly, like I say, a clear state. The jamming was amazing, very magical, as you said.
I can imagine.
And just collaborative and I mean, you know, when you're working with people like that, the objective is to let it flow naturally. Because when you are a genius like that, the problem is when you get your mind in the way, you know. But we just got it so that we were flowing and grooving. James Kotak was playing drums, and he and I had been doing a lot of records together, so we were very solid as a rhythm section at that point. And Michael was just digging it. He was just having fun. And the three of us would jam, and then Robin would come in and just start singing something. It was so much fun. But no, to answer your question, I think I had a particularly good experience. I love Michael dearly. I really do. It was a wonderful experience. Yeah, he can be a little intense sometimes, but never in a bad way. It's always good.
Who's the better guitar player, Michael Schenker or George Lynch?
Well, that's asking what's the better fruit, apples or oranges? You know, you know. I mean, to me, they're both guys that sit on the top of their heap. You know, so.
And you know, I'm going to answer this for you, and I'm going to answer it in the best way possible. I think that if you had Michael Schenker play Dokken music, it wouldn't sound right. But at the same time, if George started doing all the UFO stuff, it wouldn't sound right. George is great at doing what George does. You know, it's like saying, you know, is Peter Criss better than I'm forgetting the guy's name in Rush all of a sudden.
Neil Peart.
Neil Peart. And it's like, well, no, Peter Criss is the better drummer in Kiss. Neil Peart and Kiss would have sounded terrible. I mean, it wouldn't have worked. So they're both great at what they do. And was that where you got to meet Robin McAuley, by the way?
It is when I do it. No, I mean, I'd met him before that.
But really got to work with him and
got to work with him very seriously then, and developed, a lifelong friendship. And, you know, I was the best man at his wedding. And I mean, we connected really strongly and bonded during that record. I mean, Robin is another guy that just has this insane work ethic, an amazing voice. Yep. He's a great person. He's wonderful to collaborate with. And yeah, I mean, of course I noticed that right away and have tried to take advantage of it every chance I get.
And I'm going to do the comparative again, but when you get to Black Swan and you say, okay, we need a singer, and you call up Robin, do you look back and say, man, we had some magic going on in MSG. Let's try to get into that vibe. Or do you say, no, forget it. Black Swan is new. Let's start at square one. Do you build on what you had, or do you start at square one?
You don't really think like that. It always sort of feels like, I mean, of course I knew Robin was going to be great. You know, as soon as Reb got involved, my imagination went crazy thinking about Reb and Robin together. I just knew that it would be something so complimentary and so powerful and so satisfying. So it wasn't like I thought. I mean, the thing is, I've also worked with Robin in years since MSG, and like I say, we're close friends. So I wasn't. It wasn't like I was thinking a lot about the MSG experience, other than the fact that is what gave me the basis to know how great a worker he is and how talented he is. But it was just a question of I know, and the thing is, I think Robin is a better singer now than he was then.
I agree.
As great as he was, now, I mean, the guy can just pull off. He can sing AC/DC songs and make it really, you know, he sells it. And I've been blown away at how a guy like that only gets better with age. That's incredible.
I'll agree that Robin has found his voice. I think he knows exactly where he needs to go, and he goes there. And it's amazing. And the Black Swan was amazing. He told me last week that you were 6 songs into Black Swan.
We are.
How far, are we doing a full album of 10, 12 songs, or is this an EP? What are we doing?
No, Reb came here for a week, a couple weeks ago, and, we did 6 songs in the 6 days we worked. It was great. He's coming back in a few more weeks, and we're going to hopefully finish it off. But yes, there's a new record. It'll probably be coming out in 2022. Well, I'm sure not before then. So whole new record. I'm really excited about the material. It's really coming out strong. Reb and I were both just really pleased at how, sometimes you worry, wow, God, the first one went so smooth, how's this going to be? And if anything, it's even smoother. So really excited. I saw Robin on Saturday, and we're going to work. Oh, wait, when are we going to work? Next week. We're going to work next week, a few days, and get started. Then I leave with Foreigner to do some stuff. And then in June and July, I hope to do a lot more with Reb and Robin, and have a good chunk of the record done by the time Foreigner gets underway at the end of July, with some serious touring until the end of the year.
Awesome. And you guys were supposed to come up and play the Malone State Fair over here, so hopefully the border's open and we get that show rebooked so we can see it.
Yeah, no Canada yet, but probably next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
By the way, the great thing about Jeff, Jeremy, is that he could actually go out and be his own festival. He could play a set with McCall. He could play a set with Black Swan. He could do a Foreigner. Then he could do some End Machine. Then he can do some Lynch Pilson. He could do some. You could start at noon and go till midnight, and it would just be Jeff all day.
This Saturday.
This Saturday. The Jeff Pilson experience.
This Saturday, Jeff Pilson Fest, and you could smoke inside.
Not cigarettes. I hate them.
But there you go. The Jeff Pilson experience. That's a plan. So hopefully you'll work on that for our next interview.
I would love that.
That's the exclusive. We'll come host that festival.
I'd be really tired at the end of the day, but it'd be a great feeling.
That'd be a marathon.
And it'd be 10 hours or 12 hours of fantastic music. So
yeah.
Can't complain.
All right. Well, Jeff, you said it all. End Machine, man. Anything else you want to get out there?
No, those are the things. I mean, End Machine, Black Swan for next year, and Foreigner, lots of touring. We will be coming around. I mean, again, I don't think we're hitting Canada this year, but we certainly will next year, because we love Canada, and Canada's been very, very nice to us.
Yep.
So we're ready to get back. Let's get back in the saddle and make some live music happen here soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm in for. All right, thank you, sir. Always a pleasure. And the End Machine Phase 2 is available now. There you go.